This is Aussie Mac Zone. We'll cover everything Apple, including Macs, iPhones, iPads, and more. All this from an Aussie perspective. Sit back, relax, insert yourself into the zone. The Aussie Mac Zone.
Hello, everybody. Young Zarn, how are you?
I'm good, Michael. How are you?
Good, thanks, mate. Show 392. We're getting them there. 392. That's so good.
We're doing them a bit bi-weekly at the moment because of all the craziness.
Yes, and the lack of news.
Yeah.
Because Apple are like in that quiet zone just before they release their phones.
Yeah.
So we'll start our Aussie Apple ramblings. Australia considering new laws for Apple, Google, WeChat, digital wallets. Reuters reports the Australian government is considering new laws that would tighten the regulation of digital payment services by tech giants such as Apple and Google. Treasurer Josh Frydenberg said he would carefully consider that and other recommendations from a government-commissioned report into whether the payments system had kept pace with advances in technology and changes in consumer demand. The answer would be no. Services such as Apple Pay, Google Pay, China's WeChat Pay, which have grown rapidly in recent years, are not currently designated as payment systems, putting them outside the regulatory system. Ultimately, if we do nothing to reform the current framework, it will be Silicon Valley alone that determines the future of our payment system, a critical piece of our economic infrastructure, Frydenberg said, in an opinion piece published in the Australian Financial Review newspaper. The Bank for International Settlements earlier this month called for global financial watchdogs to urgently get to grips with the growing influence of big tech and the huge amounts of data controlled by groups such as Google, Facebook, Amazon, and Alibaba. Again, the Australian report recommended the government be given the power to designate tech companies as payment providers, clarifying the regulatory structure of digital wallets. It also recommended the government and industry together establish a strategic plan for the wider payments ecosystem and that a single integrated licensing framework for payment systems be developed. The Reserve Bank of Australia, which is currently in charge of designating who is a payment service provider, reported that payments through digital wallets had grown to 8% of in-person card transactions in 2019, up 2% from 2016. The Commonwealth Bank of Australia, which has estimated digital wallet transactions more than doubled in the year to March to 2.1 billion, has urged regulators to address competition issues and consider the safety implications of their use. Consider the safety implications of their use.
Yeah.
How much information they get from you, it's always been a big thing with credit cards anyway.
Yeah.
Massive amounts of information from,
Apple,
there's the credit card.
Apple Pay is safe like that because you're using your card and then Apple pays.
Put different numbers everywhere, yeah.
Yeah. And I only use Apple Pay.
It's not, I don't quite understand, like, they are the same as, Apple would be the same as Visa, for example.
Yeah. In
that it's still my money coming out of my bank like any other debit card.
Yep.
It's just not ANZ's brand on the debit card, basically. So
yeah. And so is Commonwealth saying that they need to regulate these because Commonwealth is losing money via Apple Pay?
I'd say so.
Well, that's what I thought too.
Because they're not getting their,
they're not getting their cut.
3%. They might be getting 1%, but they're not getting their 3%. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Unfortunately, I haven't got any, just so everyone knows, I haven't got any pictures this week because the pictures that I normally put in are on a web page that I create. And every time I go to create the web page with the latest version of Pages and Monterey, as soon as I go export to HTML, it crashes Keynote. So That's the reason we haven't got any pictures, unfortunately, because we had some nice pictures this week.
Sorry,
Story 2. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm also monitoring my children outside. That's why I was like,
got to monitor them inside too. Oh. So, story 2, sir.
Story 2. Sorry, bear with me. I really need to set up an iPad or something, or another screen, so I can do this properly. Apple rolling out new firmware versions of AirTag item trackers. 9 to 5 Mac report. Apple is rolling out an updated version of AirTag for firmware 1.0.291 that will build numbers 1A291C, which we all understand. This is up from the build number last week for release of 1A291A. Oh, okay. Yeah. Apple is beginning to roll out a new version of firmware to the Apple Tag item tracker. 9 to 5 Mac has learned the new version of AirTag firmware comes 2 months after the previous release, which made improvements to anti-stalking features for the items trackers. Well, that's good. Today's new release of AirTag firmware is version 1.0.291.
Yeah.
And
don't worry about the numbers.
No, I'm not laughing at the numbers. The boys are at the window pulling faces at me.
Okay. It's a cool. All good. Hello, beautiful children.
Prior to today, so professional. Prior to today, the most recent version of AirTag firmware, which it was, and build number to check the firmware version of AirTag. You've got to go away, please. Thank you. To check the firmware version, your AirTag, open the Find My application on your iPhone, then choose the item tab in the bottom navigation bar, then choose your AirTag from the list of items and tap on the name of your AirTag. Doing this should reveal the serial number and firmware version of your AirTag. There is also no way to force it to update. Okay, cool. Instead, just make sure your AirTag is in range of your phone, and it should automatically update.
Yep.
It is unclear what's new in the update AirTag firmware version. Apple has confirmed that it is working on an Android app that will detect AirTags and other Find My enabled accessories. But as of publication, that application is not yet available on the Google Play Store. It is also possible that today's update to AirTag includes additional improvements to the anti-stalking feature Apple announced earlier this summer. There's more in the notes.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
I know mine got updated.
Yeah.
So
ours would have updated because it's always near the phones. Yeah. So it would have been updated.
And because my wife and I have been swapping cars lately, we get heaps of messages, like more than we used to when they were first released, about Karen can see your AirTag, or, I can see her AirTag because we're driving different cars, and they haven't got family sharing yet.
And so Kellyanne has not lost her keys once since we connected the AirTag to her keys, because if she misplaces them, she just hits the button and
they go beep beep
straight away.
Excellent.
So it is a marvelous invention. We did, however, lose the Commodore keys, but I think that may have been my fault.
Off the record.
Yeah, that's right, off the record. I haven't told her that yet. But that's a live exclusive. There you go.
Yes. So Apple announces App Store changes, new communication rules, small developer assistance fund, and more. 9 to 5 Mac again, Apple has announced a handful of changes coming to the App Store in response to a class action lawsuit from US developers. One of the most notable changes is that developers can now communicate with users about alternative payment solutions outside of their applications. In other words,
Epic Games.
Not only that, but Netflix.
Netflix
can tell you to go there and pay for instead of having to pay through the Apple one all the time, just as an example.
I already did that anyway with my Netflix. I changed to Apple Pay because it was easier.
Yeah.
So now Apple Pay pays all my subscriptions, and I don't forget because it just pays them.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've got a whole issue with this, but anyhow, go ahead.
This class action lawsuit was first filed in 2019. This is not the Epic versus Apple case, but rather a lawsuit brought against Apple from small developers. Pardon me. These changes to the App Store apply to all developers in the App Store in the United States and other countries. Notably, Apple says that developers can use communication such as email to share information about payment methods outside of their iOS app. This means that a company or developer can email users with their consent to inform them about subscribing outside of the Apple Store. Apple has confirmed to 9 to 5 Mac, however, that this change does not apply to in-app communication. Developers are still not allowed to inform users in-app about pricing or subscription options available elsewhere. Theoretically, Netflix could have a field in the iOS app for users to enter their email address, then communicate with that user directly via email about payment options.
Yeah, they already do that.
Yeah. Other highlights from the settlement: Apple and the developers agreed to maintain the App Store Small Business Program in its current structure for at least the next 3 years.
Yeah,
that's where they pay. Apple charge them less per sale. Apple Store Search has always been about making it easy for users to find the apps they're looking for. At the request of developers, Apple has agreed that its search results will continue to be based on objective characteristics like downloads, star ratings, text relevance, and user behavior signals. The agreement will keep the current App Store search system in place for at least the next 3 years. Apple will also expand the number of price points available to developers from subscriptions, in-app purchases, and paid apps from fewer than 100 to more than 500. Developers will continue to set their own prices. I don't know how they work, how you have 500 different ways of payment. But anyway, Apple will maintain the option for developers to appeal the rejection of an app based on perceived unfair treatment, a process that continues to prove successful. Apple has agreed to add content to the app review website to help developers understand how the appeal process works. Over the last several years, Apple has provided a great deal of new information about the App Store on apple.com. Apple agreed to create an annual transparency report based on that data, which will share meaningful statistics about app review process, including the number of apps rejected for different reasons, the number of customer and developer accounts deactivated, objective data regarding search queries and results, and the number of apps removed from the App Store.
Mm-hmm.
The Small Developer Assistance Fund. Apple is announcing a Small Developer Assistance Fund, which will pay out between $250,000 to $30,000 developers making under $1 million per year in the App Store. The amounts will vary based on the developer's historic participation in the App Store ecosystem. Only developers in the United States are eligible for this program.
That's a shame.
And there is more in the link in the show notes.
So I think them giving into this, I understand why, but does it leave us with the danger of having apps that really shouldn't be there in the first place in the App Store? And that's more my worry, because at the moment, we can't really download apps that are there's a couple that have gotten by, but, the Apple's always happy to stop that and refund you straight away because these apps are stealing from you, and then they're normally gone.
Yeah.
But by doing this, is this giving us more chance of these apps to take our money without our sort of permission. Or not so much permission because you permission, but if one of the kids I download an app for one of the kids and it's got an in-app purchase, where they can go bam and all of a sudden now they don't need to do it, through the app store where I need to put in my details and everything like that. They can go through other avenues. Does this mean they are able then to take that money, and because it's gone through another avenue, I can't get that money back?
Yeah, quite possibly.
Yeah.
If you set it up that way, that, for example, if you're paying Netflix through your Visa card and the kids, buy another 3 years worth of Netflix.
Yeah. Exactly.
just as a silly example, but that's another.
Yeah.
Or they see that they want to watch something on Disney and you're not a Disney member, but they go through the other process. I don't know what's involved. So
yeah. So Disney again also very good with Apple, and so that all goes through there. And I've got it all set up anyway. Like mine's, I run a type shit when it comes to that sort of stuff, just because we've had it happen. And I realized, oh crap, and then, I've spoken to you about it, and you're like, well, call them, fix it, get your money back. And they've done it straight away. Apple are really good like that. And I'm worried that people that don't have, US tech support for one, and don't know that these other avenues don't have that guaranteed backup of refund and that sort of thing. And so it is good that, there is other avenues of payment, but I think the safety of the App Store and its Apple payment is a fail-safe for parents.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree. So some gaming.
Yeah. New versions of classic Mystic games now available on Mac OS. 50% performance boost from N1 Max. Ooh. It's 9 to 5 Mac again. The team at, we're going to say Cian or Cayenne? Yeah.
Cian,
That's good. Has today released a newly re-imaged version of its adventure game Myst, first released in 1993, which includes fresh takes on the visual in every area in the game. Myst runs natively on the M1 Mac and takes advantage of Metal 2.1 and AMD super chip, super resolution to achieve 50% more performance without compromising quality. Sorry.
Yeah.
This results in dramatic. I'm having a great day today. Drastic improved modeling textures and dynamic lighting effects. The best part is that the new 24-inch M1 iMac can run Myst at 4K resolution while generating zero noise. Woohoo! Here's what Myst story is all about. Welcome to Myst, a starkly beautiful island, eerily tingled with mystery and shrouded in intrigue. Journey to Myst's Island and other stunning long dormant locations called Ages, and begin to unravel the mystery you have been thrust into. As you learn what happened on the island, you will find that you are playing a key role in an epic story whose ending has not yet been written. Explore deeper connections in these stunning and surreal ages, uncover a story of ruthless family betrayal, and make choices that will affect both you and the world of Myst itself. Myst support the following Macs: all MacBook Pro released since 2018, all iMac released since 2019, all iMac Pro released since 2017, all MacBook Airs released since 2018, all MacBook Pros since 2019, all Mac Minis released since 2018.
Yes.
So that's it.
I remember playing Myst way back then.
Yep.
And I'm looking forward to having another go at it, just to remember. I
Yeah.
haven't played it for years and years and years. And I just, with my MacBook Air, it'd be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Now, some entertainment.
Yes.
Apple TV Plus earns 2 Emmy Awards for Calls and For All Mankind. 9 to 5 Mac again. The Academy of Television Arts and Science announced today that Apple TV Plus has won 2 Primetime Emmy Awards ahead of the 73rd Primetime Emmy Awards ceremony, which is set to take place on the 19th of September. Apple Original Calls won for Outstanding Motion Design, while For All Mankind Time Capsule won for Outstanding Innovation in Interactive Media. For All Mankind explores what would have happened if the global space race had never ended. The series presents an aspirational world where NASA astronauts, engineers, and their families find themselves in the center of extraordinary events seen through the prism of an alternate history timeline. A world in which the USSR beats the US to the moon. For All Mankind Time Capsule is the AR experience Apple launched alongside the show.
Yeah.
Now, Calls is a bit weird for me, but anyway, Calls is based on the French series of the same name and uses audio and minimal abstract visuals to tell short-form stories. It's directed by Fede Alvarez from Don't Breathe. Each episode follows a dramatic mystery that unfolds through a series of seemingly average, unconnected phone conversations that quickly become surreal as the characters' lives are thrown into disarray. And all it is like EQ channels bouncing up and down on the screen. You don't see anything. It's just
that's right. Yeah.
A person's name comes up here and they start talking, and a person's name comes up here and they start talking, and then you get a bit of interaction.
Yeah.
And different.
Yeah, I watched the trailer for it.
Karen likes it. Yes. So I like it.
Yeah, exactly. I watched the trailer for it, and I was like, "Oh wow, that's interesting." The concept of it all was really interesting. I don't think Kellyanne would be interested in it. She might be. I'm not sure.
You just got to try it.
That's it. Yeah. But Ted Lasso, the last few episodes of Ted Lasso, have just been absolutely hilarious, heartbreaking, and heart-wrenching.
Everything there together, all in one show. Like you just sit there going.
I know. The newsroom scene. I don't want to give too much away. But the newsroom scene, just amazing. I was almost in tears, and I was just like, just amazed how well written that show is, and how it can be so funny and so dramatic at the same time. In the one episode. Was already a huge fan, but this second season has just grabbed me again, and I'm really enjoying it.
Big.
Huge. We've also been watching Godless, which is on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Godless is a story about a town called The Bell, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, whose inhabitants, it was a mining town. All the men worked in the mine. Yeah. And the mine collapsed. And so it's a Western. So the mine collapsed, all the men died, and now it's run by women. They're trying to sell the mine. They're also dealing with other outside influences and other, problems and things like that. But if you like a gritty Western, which I do, and it's got a great storyline, characters that you can really sort of get into, check it out. Godless on Netflix. It's fantastic. I really enjoyed it.
Excellent.
Yeah. Also on Disney, it's called Doug Days. It's a short series about Doug the dog from Up.
Yeah.
And he's now living with the old man from Up, and it's just about his days.
Yeah.
What he does now. He's got a backyard and and other things to do. And so far, I think there's 4 episodes, and they go for about 7 minutes each.
Yeah.
They're also really good.
Excellent.
The boys and I watched them today, and they were very funny, very good, and like only Disney can, especially with Pixar. There was heartfelt moments and that sort of stuff,
Yeah.
So they were good too.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Anything you've been watching?
No, just
No.
Yeah. Nothing
Back
dramatic. No.
Going back to the NASA one, what's it called again?
Yeah. For All Mankind.
For All Mankind.
Yeah, I haven't actually watched any of that yet.
Oh well, I think I'm about 3 episodes or 4 episodes in.
Yeah.
I've sort of had it on in the background, sort of keeping an eye on it because I was interested in it. This plot's been played before, with the Nazi regime winning the war, and now people living in a Nazi regime, but in the future. So I wasn't, I was like, I'll give it a look. Like I said, I've just had it on in the background. It's not bad from what I've seen. I'd really need to sit down and watch it more and understand it, but it does seem to sort of drag along with the plot a little bit, where they could have sort of made it go a little bit faster and have a little bit more impact.
Yeah.
From what I noticed, probably would have caught my attention more if it did. But
I haven't watched the movie Coda yet either.
I haven't watched that either because I wanted to actually sit down and watch that with Kellyanne.
Yeah, focus on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Kellyanne would really enjoy that as well.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, we've got Cinderella on Amazon. It starts. It's a series.
Yeah.
Fairy tale modern-esque. Musical sort of thing. I'm guessing we'll watch that because I think the kids will like it, and it's a good thing to chuck on where we can all sort of watch together.
Yep.
What was I watching today? That was really good. On Stan. It's called Code 404. Which is error code. So it's about a police officer who gets shot. It's a British police dramedy. Dramedy, I guess. And he comes back they bring him back to life, and he's augmented. So they bring him back to life, and he's augmented, and he's working a case and that sort of thing. And it's very funny, very British, silly, but still got that little hint of drama and cop-esque, sort of like Doctor Who sort of style, that comedy drama sort of thrown in together.
Yeah.
So far I'm enjoying it. I think it's very good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So Code 404 on Steam.
Excellent. And I think there's a couple more shows starting their first season episodes this month.
Yep.
On Apple TV Plus. So
there is. Yeah.
We'll advise you that too. So.
Yeah. Awesome.
Story 4. That's you.
Yep. Awesome.
Back to the ordinary stories.
Yeah. ACCC starts merger law debate. Major law debate.
No, mergers law debate.
Mergers law debate. Sorry. By declaring war on big tech market power.
Here they go again.
Zenit this time reports ACCC is starting the debate on how Australia handles mergers, proposing a separate digital platforms approach to avoid market dominance. Again, Anyway, yep. Australian Competition and Consumer Commission Chair Rod Sims has declared market power or the lack of competition is having broader effects on the Australian starting the debate on how mergers are handled down under, particularly those involving big tech. The reason we are proposing changes is not because we are worried about losing court cases. It is because we have serious concerns about the level of competition in our economy and our ability under the current law to prevent further I can say that word, but I can't.
Consolidation
via anti-competitive acquisitions. He told the Law Council of Australia's ACCC workshop on a Friday.
Yeah.
Unless something is done, these concerns will only intensify in the years ahead. Sims' proposal is for the start of a new formal merger review process, changes to the mergers test, and reform to deal with acquisitions by large digital platforms. The ACCC wants the three ways to obtain clearance for a merger to be consolidated into one single method. This approach would also require all acquisitions above specified thresholds to be subject to mandatory notification to the ACCC before proceeding. It is to be expected that there will be some potentially problematic acquisitions that fall below the threshold. We are therefore proposing that the ACCC have a call-in power for proposed acquisitions that are below the threshold. But where the ACCC considers there are potential competition issues which require a public review, Sims said. More in the notes.
Yeah, so that's basically if Apple wanted to buy an Australian company.
Yep.
Or Facebook wanted to buy, acquire an Australian company, or to reduce their competition. So, but Murdoch's not an Australian company.
Hey,
Murdoch's not an Australian. He's not even Australian. He's an American.
Yep. He owns all our newspapers. There's only a few independent newspapers, and he literally monopolizes that media. And now they're saying that, Apple or Facebook couldn't do the same thing, and they're worried about it. So why don't you start there and fix that problem first?
Fix that problem, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. But
that's all right. It's very true.
Yeah.
Now, also, basically, I've already done that next story, so that's all right, because it's about Apple giving other payment methods.
Yep.
So I'll do the next one.
Cool.
Apple Watch passes 100 million active users. Cult of Mac reports Apple Watch recently passed an important milestone. There are now 100 million of them in active use, according to market analysis firm. And more than 50 million Americans have one. The user base is one of the most important measurements of a product's success. It shows how many people are actively using a device as opposed to buying one, disliking it, and putting it in the drawer. So more on the note, but yeah, there's 50 million people actively using the watch in America, and the other 50 million actively using it around the world.
Wow.
So that's not too bad.
That's good. Kellyanne loves her watch. I know she loves her watch. I know that you guys all love your watches.
Yeah.
I still haven't got one, but I will get one. I just want to find. I have huge wrists, and so a little watch would just look ridiculous. And so I'm waiting because there is a big face, but it's expensive at the moment, and so I was waiting until they sort of went down in price before I got one.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll do this one.
Go for it.
How to show your mouse cursor in macOS screenshots. Lifehacker helps us with, there are plenty of ways to take beautiful screenshots on your Mac, but there's a catch. The mouse cursor is missing in all of your screenshots by default, which may be a deal breaker for some purposes. Sometimes you may just you don't want to bother annotating the screenshot, for example, so you could quickly show the mouse pointer to tell your dad where to click to fix his computer problems.
Yep.
Instead of having to put a speech bubble on it and resave it and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Now, if you're in that boat, we're going to show you how to take macOS screenshots that include the good old mouse cursor. How to include the mouse pointer in macOS screenshots. You're going to have to do a little bit of customization to add the mouse cursor to your Mac screenshots. For this, pardon me, you'll need to find your screenshots option, which is accessible by Command-Shift 5, because you use Command-Shift 3 to take a screenshot. You use Command-Shift 4 to decide what part of the screen you want to take instead of taking the whole screen.
Yep.
And 5 gives us a shortcut. But once you've done that, click the Options menu on the right side of the floating screenshot options pane. This will open up another where the last subhead is labeled Options. Here, select Show Mouse Pointer. And that's it. From that moment on, all of your Mac screenshots will include the mouse pointer. Go right ahead and try it before using the keyboard shortcuts to take the screenshots. To capture the entire screen, use 3, or part, use 4, as I just said.
Yep.
While it is natural to be excited when you finally start seeing the mouse pointer in your Mac screenshots, you don't want to end up with a ton of random screenshots all over your desktop. So when you're done taking screenshots, be sure to check if those images are ending up in dedicated screenshots folder. Finally, you should choose to hide your mouse cursor and go back by going Command-Shift 5 and selecting Options and then unchecking the Show Mouse Pointer. And we've got one other extra bit of news from Zarn.
Yeah. So Apple announces service problem to fix iPhone 12 sound issue. Tech support report, Apple says that a very small percentage of iPhone 12 series phones might suffer from a failure in a part of the receiver module, leading to affected units not being able to produce audio when placing or receiving calls. As a result, Apple has quietly launched a new repair program intended to address this manufacturing flaw. The iPhone 12 and iPhone 12 Pro service program for no sound issue offers a free repair to replace a defective module. Where eligible, customers can send their iPhone to an Apple Center or authorized service provider to carry out the repair. Only phones manufactured between October 2020 and April 21 are eligible. And as you'd expect from the title, the 12 Mini and 12 Pro Max aren't covered, as they're presumably not affected by the issue. Although a single component failure stopping such a basic feature from functioning is a pretty... Hang on a second. Sorry. Massive Chinook helicopter just flew over.
They know where you are now.
I know. Failure stopping such a basic function... although a simple
is a pretty bad look. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a pretty bad look. It seems to be rare enough that it hasn't seen substantial media attention before this announcement. And it's good to see any manufacturer getting on top of relative uncommon issues. However, it's also worth noting that it's just a free repair for the receiver module. The company warns that units shouldn't be damaged in any other way when sent in, and if they are, you might have to fork out to have the service center repair the damage. Apple has Apple also recommends that you should back your phone up to iCloud before shipping, as it just in case. Assuming that your device meets the requirements, the program's coverage extends for 2 years after it was first sold at retail and doesn't affect any existing warranty coverage on the phone.
And the reason, fair enough, is that you can't have a phone that you've dropped, for example, and you're sending it in, because you might be able to take the screen out because the case is pushing up against the screen and you can't get it out without cracking it, for example. Things like that. So that's why you can't have damaged equipment and send
or
it
my
back.
phone, which my phone brings up that many times, it doesn't even hold the screen in anymore.
So, show notes each week on our show upload, the link being
AussieMacZone.com.au/AMZ392.
Yes.
There you will see the last 6 weeks of show notes.
You can email Michael or Zarn at AussieMacZone.com.au.
Oh, sorry. However, shocker today. However, however you listen to us, make sure you give us a rating and a like, and tell your friends, because we do the same for you, and that's how we work here. So, like us, share us, listen to us.
That's right.
We're not
you can find us.
Sometimes
we do keep you up to date.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes we're funny. We're always funny looking.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah. You can find us sometimes on Apple News with Aussie Mac Zone.
Yeah.
But most importantly, thanks to our supporters, you, our listeners.
Yes.
Over to Zarn for that sign off.
Excellent, guys. Stay safe. I know it's crazy. I've been saying it for months now. Look after each other, be kind, and remember,
absolutely,
an apple a day keeps the androids away. See you guys.
Thank you.